gentlemen, he has a professional record of 41 contests, 37 wins, 4 losses, 36 wins coming by way of KO. He weighed in today at 17 stone 8 3/4 pounds. He is the former ABA champion and was the former undefeated European heavyweight champion and 3 times world challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Bruno!
Bruno is back. Let's see how he does with your big fight commentators, Jim Watt. And first of all, a very good evening to Reggie Guttridge.
Yes, Jim, the appropriate site, this on an agricultural showground for this beef trust show. Only 1 round, remember, in the last 6 months, and Bruno might be just got a bit ring rusty. But as always, he's as physically mean as a butcher's dog, really, muscles on his ears. He's calling it his last chance saloon and Custer's last stand. I bet he thinks Don King had the stand right next to it. Well, it all depends really on the strength or lack of it with the Puerto Rican. But the American thick ear traders, well, they say Marin doesn't fall over, he needs knocking over. Jim Watt and I have seen him in preliminary bouts, and Jim Watt seems to remember him more than I do, on 2 title shows. We'll talk about that later on. But don't blink and put the kettle on, because Bruno's had 12 first-round knockouts. But I agree with the general opinion in the States that this fellow is a wary type of fighter, and he'll need knocking over. Doubtfully he'll fall. Decided to head there. I was hoping it wouldn't happen so quickly that we could have another look at Bruno.
Well, that punch seemed to land in the temple. It was a decent punch, Reg.
Yeah, that one wasn't, Jim. He missed by a mile with that. It's a little bit wild.
Already Bruno's jab's giving him some trouble.
Yeah, just turn that into a left hook. This fella's not going to go up, Jim. He's not going to make it. Well, I'll make that about 60 seconds and a lot of fuss. And he's done it again, Bruno. Now, the trouble was, Jim, you'd seen him before on some Tyson bills. What do you remember about Marin?
I remember he was a decent fighter, well schooled, but he didn't do anything particularly well. He's obviously come over here at the tail end of a career. He never got a world title shot. He knows he's probably never going to get one. He's come over here for the payday, but I've got to say, Reg, a little bit disappointed. Okay, he got hit with a couple of decent shots, but those punches were not knockout punches. As he landed on the floor for the finishing punch, he was rubbing his eye as though he was feeling a little bit of discomfort, but in no way was he knocked out. He decided not to come back up again. Okay, the way it looked, Bruno was going to knock him out anyway, but we'll have to say a little bit disappointed in his lack of appetite.
Yeah, well, heavyweight fights, we know there's loads of one-rounders over the years, Jim, but we were hoping his last fight, remember, also ended in a very heavily criticised fight with Jesse Ferguson in Birmingham. And I would have thought even old Frank would have wanted to go a few rounds more, but he doesn't know how to pull punches. He unloads a little bit. But as you say, I didn't like the way he was sort of protecting his eyes. Let's have a look at it again.
Well, Bruno's jab was working well right from the first bell. He got through with a couple of... And he really has a powerful jab that can sicken opponents, but it shouldn't sicken you after a couple. Now, that was a punch that landed a little bit high. There was a fair bit of power in the punch. It caught him high in the head, but not a knockout punch. He got back up again, as you can see, in decent shape. Bruno let go with a left hook, which again was a half-decent punch. No, that was at the right hand again, causing the first knockdown there.
That was the first knockdown, yeah.
Not in any great deal of discomfort there. Decent punch, knocked him off balance. Again, a good jab. The jab worked well for the few seconds the fight lasted. And then he seemed to come around, it looked like a left hook. Just a jolting hook, but no way, Reg, was that a knockout punch. He's looking down here, he knows exactly where he is, and he's decided he's where he wants to be. Yeah,
he came here and talked a good fight to Marin, I must say. And I thought he might go a few rounds, but, you know, you can never see him really winning the fight. But
that was a jolting punch, that one, Reg, but no way a knockout punch. Marin found himself on the floor and really decided to stay there.
Frank will say, well, that was quicker than than Riddick Bowe could do with this fella. So as we watch there, just the final punches.
I mean, once again, Big Frank did his job, so you can't fault Big Frank, but unfortunately the opponent failed to do his.
So it's goodbye Harry and come in Gary.
Let's hope that Frank remembers it's Gary and not Harry.
Yeah, Harry's at home, I think.
Now, Jim Watt has just said, you won't have heard this, Frank, that you did your job. Yeah. It's not your fault that the opponent didn't do his. He was a poor opponent.
It's difficult to say he was a poor opponent because he took Joe Hip 10 rounds, yeah, about 2 months ago. Yeah, and I thought he won against Joe Hip, so I don't think he was a poor opponent. I didn't give him a chance to be a good opponent. I hit him with a jab, and I was catching with left hooks and right hand, so I don't think he was a poor opponent. If you was in there taking the punches, you know what I mean, I don't think you'd be saying the same thing, or Jim Watt would be saying the same thing, but it's all right for him to sit down there and criticise.
Yeah. We're not criticising you, Frank, and it's not our job to be fighters.
Opponent, because look at his record and see that Joe Hip is rated number 3 by the WBC, so don't you know what I mean, slag him down.
No, but you'll understand our viewers. Looking forward to seeing you. You look brilliant. You're top of the form, and they see an opponent go down so quickly.
Yeah, but with the power I've got in my hands, I'm weighing the heaviest I've ever weighed. You know what I mean? And I don't think he came over here. He's got a little bit of pride. You know, I don't think he came here to sit down. But he was tasting the jabs, and he weren't no phony punches what hit him. They were hard, solid, good punches. You can see by him he's still shaking. You know.
Okay. Well, let's explain to us about how hard these punches were, Frank.
No problem. I was trying to feed my way in. Yeah. I was trying to feed my way in. That's a good jab on the side of the head there. That was the top of the head. Top of the head. And he went down.
This is the last one.
Yeah.
Now, while we're talking, unfortunately, the crowd are all singing, "What a load of rubbish," Frank.
Yeah, it's easy.
No, I've just let Frank finish, sorry.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, I don't think they're shouting at me, I think they're shouting at Marion, but, you know what I mean, I'm going there to train for 10 hard rounds if it comes to the bonus, you know?
Do you wish you'd gone longer yourself?
To be quite honest, it would have been nice for me to go longer, but I've done 150 rounds, you know what I mean, in Lanzarote at Club de Zanta with 3 different sparring partners. So, you know, I've got a world title fight coming up hopefully in the summer, so, you know, I didn't want no mistakes to happen.
Last question before I talk to your new promoter. No. I mean, obviously, the sooner we can get Oliver McCall on, the better.
Very, very much so. I can't wait for that fight, you know. I didn't want nothing slipping up tonight, and I had to go in there and do a good number. I see him fight Joe Hip, who's rated number 3, and I thought he beat him, so I couldn't mess around because he comes stronger in later rounds, Gary.
All right, Frank. Hope it's longer next time. Thank you. Frank Warren, you had a lot of difficulty, you said just a few minutes ago, because that didn't last very long. You had great difficulty in finding an opponent. That opponent was poor, and no one's going to be convinced any different.
I'm not trying to convince him. All I'll say to you, he looked very apprehensive to start, but he looks apprehensive in his fight against Hip in the last fight. And obviously he didn't give him a chance to get into the fight at all. You know, it is very difficult, and when guys are big punchers, if they connect, they go. I've got a reputation for delivering good fights, and I've always delivered, I think, 90% of the time decent fights. You know, and as I say, it's been very difficult to find opponents, but he's done the job and got rid of his man.
Okay, great to have Bruno on ITV. How quickly can we get Oliver McCall and the world title on? Forget about tonight and get that on.
We're working on it very hard now. Oliver McCall's got a little job to do himself first on April the 8th against Larry Holmes, and provided, you know, or the winner of that, whoever comes through, then we'll put the fight on. Well, let's get that one out of the way first of all.
Okay, let's hear the official verdict now from the Master of Ceremonies, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute and 5 seconds of the first round, Rodolfo Marin has failed to beat the count. The winner by count out, Frank Bruno!
So then, 65 seconds it lasted. I have to say up here I've got a bit of sympathy with Bruno. In many ways he was in a no-win scenario here tonight. If he got his opponent out of the way very quickly, the crowd around here would chant what a load of money. You at home, or what a waste of money I should say, you at home might feel a little bit cheated. Bruno himself might have preferred the fight to go a bit longer, but his victory really was all that mattered here tonight to Frank Bruno anyway. Barry McGuigan before the fight, you had certain misjudgments, I know, or misgivings about Frank's opponent, but you can't criticise Frank Bruno for getting in there, getting the job done, and doing what he had to do.
Well, he is, as you said, Jim, in a no-win situation. He's so heavy-handed when he hits these guys. Whatever little bit of desire they have goes out of them completely. And there's no doubt that he's very heavy-handed. And, you know, okay, Rodolfo Marin didn't put up much of a challenge here tonight, but all he needed was a little bit of target practice. He may have another fight, and then, of course, he hopes to get and fight for the world title for a fourth time, and that's the one that he really wants.
That's right.
And that's the one that the general public really want to see too.
I would think the crowd here have been terrific, haven't they? They've filled the place out, and there must be certain sympathy for people who have paid a lot of very good money and not had too much entertainment.
Well, I'm sure they're very disappointed, and they've been shouting some vulgar remarks behind me here. But nonetheless, they're still tremendous fans of Frank's, and that's the bottom line. And when he goes to fight for the title again, and hopefully he will, there'll be 40,000 people turn out to see him, you know.
That's right. What about Frank? I mean, how's he going to feel? I went over to see him over there in Lanzarote, 150 rounds, miles and miles on the road. So he comes here, and it's all over. I mean, he could fight tomorrow if he had to.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's of no benefit to him whatsoever. I mean, a good sparring session is better target practice than that. And obviously, he would much prefer the fight to go into the later rounds. I think he should try and squeeze in another fight here, because really and truly, that's of no benefit to him at all. He needs 4 or 5 rounds under his belt, and he really needs a serious contender that will give him a difficult challenge for at least 4 or 5 competitive rounds where he can get real competitive action and get competition sharpness again, because that's what he needs to.
You see, would you fear for him, Barry, if you know, he went in against a McCall or a Larry Holmes, and he's had, what, 2 rounds in about the last year and a half,
Well,
hasn't
this
he?
is it. You see, if he gets a shot at the title again, and they're talking about possibly the end of the summer, he needs another fight in the meantime.
Okay.
He needs somebody that will give him a good test.
Thanks, Barry. Let's get back down to ringside, back down to Gary.
Thank you, Jim. Down here with me, Emmanuel Steward, one of the great trainers in the game, I promise you that. He had Oliver McCall, he helped him, and now he's with Lennox Lewis. Many other great names, including Gerald McClellan. Now, I think I gave Frank Bruno a harder time than his opponent, trying to get him to admit that the opponent wasn't any good. What was your opinion of the opponent?
Well, I saw him sweating while he was talking to you, and I was wondering where did the sweat come from. It must have been from nervousness getting into the ring, because he did work up a sweat during the fight. You know, it's fighters like this is why people ask me in the past why I never dealt with heavyweights. I've always said the biggest problem with most heavyweights were they didn't have much courage. And after dealing with the fighters such as Thomas Hearns and Gerald McClellan and Dennis Andres and even my present boxer, Ola Clemenson, at the Crunk Gym, we're used to guys who have a lot of heart. This type of a guy that fought tonight could not have even been able to be admitted to shadow box in our gymnasium. I mean, he didn't get hit with a solid punch, and I felt that Bruno and the public was all deprived of what should have been a decent fight. I felt that once he felt Bruno's strength, he just immediately gave up, and any punch that was even glancing, he just went down. He just really didn't want to fight. He didn't have the heart. I don't think it was nothing that Bruno did that should.
Bruno wants decent opponents.
Bruno,
how will he get on against McCall?
Bruno and McCall, I think that McCall is physically and mentally too strong a man. That's my personal opinion. McCall is a good fighter, but more than he's a very strong, determined person. And I don't think that Bruno could beat him. That's my opinion. But it would be a much better fight than what we saw tonight. The biggest problem seems to be Bruno himself. As the fights progress, he seems to lose confidence in himself, even when he's winning fights. Most of the fights that he's lost, he was winning a fight, so at least he was into the fight, and it wasn't so much what an opponent did. It seems like, to me, it's like at a certain point he realized he was winning, and then he lost confidence himself.
Emmanuel, thank you very much indeed. There's no doubt, though, Jim Rosenthal, that they do love Frank Bruno. Let's hope he gets a better opponent next time.
Yes, they do love him. Emmanuel Steward, of course, looking after Lennox Lewis these days, and well, his criticism of Frank Bruno not totally unexpected there. A brief fight for you this week. Next Saturday night we're back at 9 o'clock, and it should be an absolutely outstanding fight, that one. 2 explosive fighters. Nigel Benn, the British champion, British super middleweight champion, defending his title against a fearsome hitter called Gerald McClellan. Throughout his career, Benn's always loved a good old tear-up. Next Saturday, he goes in with one of the hardest hitters of modern times. Benn, though, has seen it all. This is the challenger, Gerald McClellan, the G-man. He's never been beyond 8, and his record is quite astonishing. 28 wins inside 3 rounds.
Nice shot by Julian.
As he goes upstairs, no chances, south of there.
Julian gonna win it right here.
Down goes Jackson. Can McClellan finish him off? He's down again. Bill's Wayne has stopped the fight. And Gerald McClellan has upset Julian Jackson, and he is the new WBC middleweight champion.
Gilbert Baptiste didn't last too long either. Making middleweight for this one was pure agony for McClellan, but you'd never have guessed. Another quality opponent blown away in the first round. The rematch with Jackson was brief and brutal. McClellan's 20th first round triumph. What a fearsome character. Just let me tell you, in a few minutes' time I'll have a competition for you. You can win a couple of tickets, £1,000 if you prefer, but 2 tickets and a VIP trip to that fight next week, Benn against McClellan. Well, Nigel Benn has stayed over at his training base in Tenerife. He's been very elusive, he's kept quiet, but McClellan is here in London. He's been working out at the Peacock Gym in East London, and he's been drawing rave reviews there, I can tell you. Well, Gary Newbon caught up with him yesterday and asked McClellan for his views on Nigel Benn.
Well, I think Ben has been a great champion. He's got to be somebody. He has a super middleweight title. And as far as you know, in the ring with me against an opponent like Ben, I don't think I should have no problem. I won't have a problem with him. It's a perfect style. He's a guy that's going to come towards me. He has a lot of heart. He thinks he's a big puncher, so that's going to be tailor-made for me.
You've never been past 8 rounds?
No, I will never go past 8 rounds again. My fights won't go that long. I mean, the way I train and the way I punch, and the heart I got, and the mind I have, my fights probably will never go past 2 or 3 rounds.
Unlike a lot of fighters, though, Ben is never afraid to go in with anybody. He's been in with Iron Barkley. I mean, that was a tremendous 1-round fight that he won. He may be a little bit tougher than some of the opponents you've met.
Well, believe it or not, Barkley was a hard puncher, but you know, you got to have speed and power to make a great punch. You know, Barkley's punches was very hard. You know, you can see him coming. The punches that knock you out are the ones you don't see coming. So I have the speed and power. And you can't compare me now with the other fights I had before, because I was like killing myself to make weight. And people said I don't have no stamina. I mean, if you lose 11 pounds the day before the fight, and you'd be exhausted too. So this is the first fight that I'm in the ring with all my strength. I'll be weighing like 175, my natural walk-around weight, without losing any weight, and this is as strong as I ever be in a fight.
You've got a tremendous left hook. You've got some tremendous range of punches. How long do you think this fight will go?
Well, it depends on Ben. You know, if he sit there and challenge me, then it'll be over quick. But if he take his time and try to outbox me and move a little bit, then it'll probably take me a little longer to catch up with him, but not too many rounds.
What do you think of his punching power?
Well, I mean, he has about 85–90% knockout ratio. He's punching pretty good. I never gave my opponent enough credit. I never give none of my opponents credit for being a big knockout artist, because mentally, if you go in the ring thinking this guy's a big puncher, this guy's a better boxer than me, mentally he's beat. So I look at all my opponents as sparring partners.
What are your strengths, do you think?
Boxing, punching, I can do it all.
Are there any weaknesses there?
No, just me.
Outside the ring, you've got an interesting interest in the fact you've got 4 pit bull terriers. One would frighten most people.
Right. I mean, I have pit bulls because pit bull's the only dog that remind me of myself. You know, just real aggressive. Don't take nothing off nobody and just straight to the point. And it's a real aggressive dog.
And he's a very aggressive man as well. 9 o'clock, same place, same time, Saturday night. It could well be one of the great fights of the year, that one, Nigel Benn against Gerald McClellan. Well, Frank, Bruno took just 65 seconds to get the job done here tonight. Barry McGuigan, are you expecting another pretty quick one at the London Arena next Saturday?
Well, I have to tell you, this is in the trade And any boxing fan will tell you this is the most anticipated fight and look forward to fight that we've had for 10 years. This guy McClellan is absolutely remarkable, and the bill itself is a remarkable bill. 2 world title fights and a fabulous undercard. I can't wait for it to happen. It's going to be exciting, however long it lasts.
It will be.
And I'll tell you, it's going to be a remarkable fight. And if anybody out there thinking of buying a ticket, go and get one. It's going to be a fabulous fight.
That's right. Well, of course, if you can't get there, be with us at 9 o'clock on ITV. Just quickly, Barry, they've made McClellan the odds-on favourite. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me. This guy's an awesome puncher. 20 first-round knockouts. He's an incredible puncher, and this could be the end of Nigel next Saturday. And I hope I'm wrong, but he's just an awesome task ahead of him.
It is. Well, if it is, I'm sure Nigel Benn will go out wearing his shield. Well, a terrifically popular fighter down in this part of the world is a guy called Ross Hale. He got almost as good a reception as Bruno did when he came in. And a bit earlier on tonight, he defended his British and Commonwealth light welterweight titles against a Brummie called Malcolm Melvin. This one got off to an absolutely explosive start. Let's rejoin Jim and Reg.
Second time, round 1.
Well, there's a great deal of excitement, I promise you, here with Ross Hale almost alive. Oh, yeah, Ross Hale just jumped Melvin with the first punch. Now this is a return fight from October '92, which went the distance was only won by a half point by the reigning champion Ross Hale. What a start that is. Mind you, Melvin was down before, but then came back and, as I say, took it to a photo finish. Big favourite, Ross Hale from Bristol, the Kingswood area, which is what, about 26 miles from Shepton Mallet. And Melvin from Birmingham.
That looked like a terrible lapse in concentration from Melvin there, Reg. He seemed to come out not even thinking about the fight and walked right on to a couple of little jolting shots. But what a start, what a terrible start from Melvin.
It's come on a bundle, Ross Hale, though, Jim, you know, southpaw. There's no standing count, remember, here in the British Championship. And no mandatory 8 count. Oh, what a start this is. It's impressive stuff, isn't it? Won the championship against Andy Holligan, who had previously fought the world champion, Julio Cesar Chavez.
Melvin doesn't want to fight back here, Reg. He just wants to grab hold and survive and see the round out. He's well lost the round. What's the point in taking any chances? He just wants to try and get on his bike or smother Hale up close. On the floor twice. There he's on the floor again.
If it was a WBO fight, Jim, it would be all over now. World Championship, 3 knockdowns.
This is a disastrous start for Melvin. Whatever confidence he had must have been wiped out.
Nicky Melvin right on top of it. Nicky Van, I should say, right on top of it, the referee now. Look, he looks as though he's going to spring in any minute.
This is what he should be doing now. Melvin's ducking and diving now, just trying to keep his chin out of harm's way. That's what he has to do to get this round behind him. Never mind punching back, just get the round behind him.
He'll do well to recover from this. He was a bit game there, the referee going in.
His eyes look clear enough. He doesn't look badly shaken. He seems to have thrown the effects of the punch. He's obviously in good shape, but he doesn't want to take any more. If he's on the floor again, the referee will stop it.
I know the Lynch brothers have trained him hard in the Birmingham gymnasium, and also his manager, Pat Dell, former champion, of course. As you can see, the countdown on the clock there, and it will seem like 20 minutes now to Malcolm Melvin, but he's done well getting off the floor like that. He deserves to see the round out now, Jim.
Yeah, well, at least he's doing the right things. He was trying to fire back with Hale. He must have learned in the first meeting he doesn't have the power to trade, so he just wants to keep himself out of trouble.
Here's the first knockdown, Jim. Take a look at this.
Well, he thought it seemed to be somewhere else. Caught completely asleep there. No concentration whatsoever as he answered the bell.
Just as well that punch didn't land.
And he was still in trouble for quite a few seconds after the knockdown, still a bit too reckless. Down himself over.
Think about it.
Seconds out, round 2.
Well, Malcolm Melvin's cornermen there, Pat Cowdell and the Lynch brothers, had to do really work hard there to try and get some hope back for Melvin. There's a gutsy fighter, mind you, but he's not renowned as the best puncher. He's only had 1 stoppage in his 17 wins. Ross Hale's had 16 out of 23 wins and only lost 1 contest. Second defence this is for Ross Hale, which means he can win the Lonsdale belt outright. Second defence of the British Championship, first of the Commonwealth Championships involved here as well.
And quite often return matches favour the heavier puncher, because the light puncher knows he has 12 rounds of this, whereas Hale, as you can see the way he started, he's looking for a quick one.
Melvin won the Midlands and the All-Ireland Championship. Won the Irish Championship against another Brummie, Sean Cogan.
It's still something of a survival job for Melvin. He's not really producing any decent punch. He's still ducking and diving, as though he's still trying to get his head cleared.
Great improvement actually with Ross Hale, especially since he's won the championship, and a huge following in the West Country.
Well, I was impressed in the first round, Regs, that he didn't waste punches even when he had Melvin when he came up off the floor. Didn't waste punches, kept nice and calm, and he's still doing that.
Sole charge here, the referee, should it go 12 rounds with a minute to go in the second. No judges for British Championships. Well, he's certainly got a big winning round in the bank already then, Ross Hale. Picking his punch as well, the champion. The light welterweight, 10 stone. And coming up then to the end of the second round. And he's made a bit of a comeback, Malcolm Melvin here, full credit to him. Really took some stick.
Yeah, well, he's moving around well, he's not winning anything.
Calibra from Vauxhall, the most aerodynamic production coupe on Earth.
We're out for the third round then of this light welterweight championship with Britain and the Commonwealth, with Ross Hale, the southpaw. It swarmed all over the challenger Malcolm Melvin then in this return contest, which went to a half-point decision in Hale's favour in October of '92.
Shook him again with that right hook. He really seems to have intimidated Melvin here. Melvin can't find any confidence.
Courageous fighter, Melvin, Jim, and he needs to be with this one, doesn't he? He's really soaking it up.
Yeah, but it's been a disastrous start, and he hasn't really shaken the effects yet. Still a little bit apprehensive, still thinking mainly in defence. Nice little uppercut inside from Hale. Hale still not in any panic. He knows things are going his way, just nice, steady.
You know, promoter and former boxer and hard man he was to Chris Sanagar, gets excited a bit himself in the corner, but I think he's campaigned it well really for Ross Hale. Calmed him down a little bit. Just pick your shots. You know you're the better puncher. Sorts of plans actually for the future of Ross Hale, Frank Warren and Chris Sanagar in unison, are even talking about boxing one of the best Americans around him, Frankie Randall, the only man to have defeated Julio Cesar Chavez.
The referee's warned them a couple of times about heads. They've banged together a couple of times in this round.
They banged him. They don't look like actual butts though, do they? Just the speed of it, I think they're rushing in.
Yeah, it's just the fact that Melvin's trying to dip under everything that Hale's throwing. Didn't dip under that one. Hale is really in charge.
I know there's been a big needle match with the return fight with these two, and they've really got themselves in tremendous shape. And Melvin, having soaked up those punches in the opening round, I give him credit for that. But Hale, as they say in the fight game, has been the governor all the way.
Hale is showing a nice little feint just before he throws punches, and that's the reason he's now beginning to land cleanly.
Make no mistake, above all, it's a Rover 800.
Seconds out, 12 and final round.
Final round then of this real war it's been between Ross Hale and Malcolm Melvin. Ross Hale, well, streets ahead it would seem to us, but certainly Melvin has come out with a lot of credit here. And well, could he do it in the last? Very doubtful. Or can Hale stop him in the last round? Almost in there with him, Mickey Vad. He works the fight well. Did a bit of ballroom dancing in his time, among many other things, from a circus family, and he scoots around the ring. That's why I think the Americans get him a lot to referee World Championship fights. Ross Hale, Jim, obviously is going to be pleased to get a Lonsdale belt outright. There's plenty of great fighters in the past that couldn't quite manage that. But he might be a little bit disappointed that he couldn't stop this fellow.
Well, I think maybe the first round flattered him a little bit. I really feel that he caught Melvin a little bit cold, because, as I said, he's been hitting him with better punches ever since that round and not really shaking him up. Shook him up a couple of times, but never put him in serious trouble. So I think it always looked like a distance fight.
Well, maybe he has some satisfaction, Hal, of finishing a fight for 12 rounds. He's only lost one contest, by the way, but maybe he's looking for a long distance one. I doubt it. It's just, he realises now that Melvin's tough as old boots, and there's no point in sort of taking too many chances. He's got the belt, to give the expression, in his pocket, really, isn't he?
Well, provided referee Mickey Van agrees with us, Reg, but I expect he does.
Well, if
but
not, I think I'll dive under the ring, Jim. I don't think the Bristol fans are going to like that too much. It won't happen.
Yeah, it should be a fairly lopsided verdict in his favour. But he may be a bit disappointed that he was so totally in charge in the first half of the fight and he let that dominance slip away. But we have to give Melvin a lot of credit. He fought himself back into the fight, put up a tremendous show.
Must be a great deal of satisfaction here for Malcolm Melvin, though, Jim, to go the full course after such a disastrous start. So we're just getting the countdown now, 15 seconds, 10 seconds. And he'll get an automatic raising of the arm here. He's already totted up by the 11th round, of course, the referee. There he is, just waiting for the... And there goes the hand of Ross Hale. And the Lonsdale belt outright, and the West Country supporters, well, they love it.
I told him to fit up a load of cupboards, and he had to do it in half a day. So instead of screwing them into the wall, he just banged the screws in. I mean, they were up for a few months before they fell down. Yeah, they phoned me up to complain. I got the job to replaster the wall.
AA Homeline is a new AA service that vets tradespeople for your home.
Natrel Plus, that much fresher.
Well, again, so Ross Hale rules the roost in these parts. He was given that verdict by something like 8 rounds, and he gets a Lonsdale belt outright as well. Well, now that competition I promised you, join us at the Benn McClellan fight next Saturday night. There's an overnight stay at a top London hotel, a champagne dinner, 2 tickets, or if you prefer, you can have £1,000. And all we want you to do is decide who you think is the top heavyweight champion. 3 legendary champions, Rocky Marciano, Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Our panel of experts will decide the winner. And dial 0891 90 00 00, 0891 90 00 00. The line's open till midday on Tuesday, and of course we will give you the result next Saturday night at that McClellan Benn fight, 9 o'clock. That's next Saturday. Join us for that. Big football action coming up on Wednesday night, the Coca-Cola semi-finals. Palace against Liverpool from Selhurst Park. Join Bob Wilson for that one, and Bolton Wanderers against Swindon Town. Highlights of that semi-final as well this Wednesday at 8 o'clock here on ITV. Right then, Frank Bruno took no time at all. 65 seconds to dispose of Rodolfo Marin. The West Country public did their bit. They turned out here in great numbers. Frank Bruno did his as well. In pantomime, he was Robin Hood in Bristol. He's got a great following in these parts. I've got the impression we're going to be back here in the not too distant future. He's certainly hit the mark here tonight, and he's right back on that world heavyweight title trail. Good night from us all.
Already Bruno's jab's giving him some trouble.
Yeah, just turn that into a left hook. This fella's not going to get up to him. He's not going to make it. Well, I make that about 60 seconds and a lot of fuss. And he's done it again, Bruno. Now, the trouble was that you've seen him before up to Tyson.
Benn versus McClellan in a WBC super middleweight contest. The Dark Destroyer is about to face his hardest test yet against the formidable McClellan. Benn will need all his powers of evasion to avoid this sort of outcome. The Big Fight Live next Saturday at 9 on Central.